All right, so let's take a look at creating another sound file. If you remember before, we created this one, which is our rain. Another quick way of doing this is if you click over here and you go down to all classes, you can find an ambient sound. And this is similar to how to create like a quick sound file. So I went ahead and downloaded a wind audio file from the site that I had done before. So you can actually just use this file and just drop it in here. And now when I press play, you can see there's wind always playing. Now you can see it's combined. And if you want to, you can do the same thing as before. Notice there's no attenuation settings. You can actually copy the same attenuation settings as the other one. Or you can, just similar to what we did before, you can go into sounds here, sound attenuation, and you can make a new sound attenuation, which is just called wind, and then _SA, and then select the this ambient sound, which I will rename wind, and then I'll do like ambient sound or something instead of for ambient sound instead of audio file in their scene. And then I can just grab this wind sound attenuation here. And then let's see, we want to adjust our settings. So we want to turn on override attenuation sounds. And we can make this a little bit smaller in the fall off, because say we're entering like a cave in this area over here. And see how this is another reason why I like to mark those areas. So let's add a shape, and this triangle, this cone will represent our cave entrance. Let's hit F to focus on that, and I'll just hit R to scale this up, and then W, and then just move this over. And so this represents our cave entrance until we model it. So here we have rain, and then I'm going to walk over to my cave entrance. And I might need to play with that sound file, make it a little stronger. There we go. I think that was blocking it a little bit. All right, let's move on. All right, so something else I'd like to point out is I have my wind attenuation selected here. If we are doing something like a cave, it might be better to do, instead of a sphere, something like a capsule. And the reason for this is, and we can adjust the, let's see, fall off distance, something like this. And let's rotate that. Because what it does is it contains the audio into the shape of the inner part of the cave. So something like this. So now when I press play, actually, let's adjust that a little bit more like that, and then, sorry, let's move this back. So now when we press play, if I walk towards this capsule here, and there's a little bit of a buildup from that wind as I'm going through. Okay. And you want to be careful too sometimes that it's like, it's big enough and it's not clipping and things like that. So that's another good thing. Something else we can do is that we can actually make it a cone. And this is something like, say you have a loudspeaker, and let's see. Let's cone offset, and then let's adjust this fall off. Looks like here, if we can this down. There we go. Now it's looking more cone-like. It was remembering some of the settings from before. So what happens is if you have like a loudspeaker in your game and you want your character to only hear the sound within a specific area, adjust this a little bit more. Okay, so now if I walk outside of this cone, I can only hear it if I enter inside of it. And actually, let's make sure this is playing the right, wind. And so those are different ways of using the shapes. And that you have to remember too, like as you adjust these, it sort of remembers your last setting. So let's leave it as a sphere for a moment. One other thing I want to notice too is this, for those of you who might be like playing this and wondering like, well, as I walk through these, I don't hear it in my left and right speaker. Like I actually hear it between my ears. It's because I have this enable spatialization on down here, and we have panning on. So it'll pan between the two audio files. All right, so now if you remember, we have this arcade sound. And what we can do just for the sake of showcasing our stuff, like this might be like, you can use this as part of your assignment if you get a door creaking open, is you can actually build this into the box trigger that you have before. So if you remember before, we went to, let's see, trigger box, and we can adjust the size. So let's kind of move this down to the ground. And for now, I'm going to place it by my cave, make it pretty big here, and just kind of place it right here. Let's go a little wider, and then I'll just make a box shape. And this can represent your door. I'm not going to shape it to save time. I'm just going to place it here. So let's say this is like a giant door that the player walks to get into the cave. It's like a sliding thing. And I'll use that sound of the arcade machine. Normally you would go and get a creaking door sound or something. Actually, let's scale that up a little bit more. So we'll take a look at doing this in two ways, one with the level blueprint and then the other way using a reusable blueprint. All right, so let's go up here and then do open level blueprint. And notice, let's drag this over here. I have this selected here. And so what I can do is if I right click in here, you'll see add event for trigger box 0. And if I double click this, you can see, well, what kind of event? Let's say I want a collision event. And then it says add on actor begin overlap. So if I click on that, whenever our actor overlaps or walks into the trigger box, we're going to do something, which is play the audio file. Now, it's important to always check, just like in the previous tutorials, that like it's the actual actor, not the like another character. So say we have the AI character from the previous lesson and it walks through. We don't want that playing the sound. We only want the main character. So we want to do get player character, and then I'm going to right click and do equals equals. And what this does is we're checking, is the current player actor the same as the actor that walked through this trigger box? So is the character, which is the one that we made, or the third person character, the same one that walked through the trigger box? All right, so if it is our character, remember we use branch statements, and I think it's actually, if we hold B down and we left click it, it makes a branch. You have to forgive me, I'm always switching between engines for different classes and tutorials. And then if we did, if it is that character and it's true, then all we want to do is we want to play the sound, and we're going to play it at the current location. And so we can select the sound file, which is the arcade retro. What might be cool is actually, here, let me save this. And I'm going to save this as, let's see. We're just saving our scene here, and this is our audio scene because we haven't saved the scene. All right, so what I want to do is see this door here, and I'm going to actually just name this door. Oops, not SOAR door. Just so what I'd like it to do is I'd like it to actually play the audio file from the door's location. As interesting as that sounds. So I go to audio scene here, and I right click and actually, do I have my door selected? Yeah. And I do I'll create a reference to the door, and then I wonder if it'll just create the actor. No. So we have to select that off and do get actor location. There we go. And then that'll be the location of that actor. So now when I save this, all right, let's test this. So I'm going to go into my audio scene here, press play, and then I'm going to walk over to that cube. You can see it plays when I walk into it. So this is cool too if you have like wind or other things. The problem with this is it's not exactly reusable, but it's great for testing for the level. Let's go ahead and take a look at how we can take this and turn it into its own blueprint. And actually, I was thinking of this for a second. One problem we have is if the cave door opens, we don't always want this audio file to play. So if that's the case for your game, you can actually drag this off and type in do once. And what that'll do is that'll actually play the audio file just once. So let's save this. And so now when I walk through that, and let's say the cave door opens, it only plays it once and it's pretty much over with. All right, so what I'm going to do is highlight all of this, hit Control C to copy it. And then in our blueprints folder, I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a new folder in here and just call this one audio. So this is where all of my audio blueprints are going to go. And then I'm going to right click again, create a new blueprint class, and I'm going to create an actor because audio files are actors. And I'll call this cave, or you know what, I'll just do door underscore open sound underscore BP. Now, the reason for this is because you might have, you know, with this one, it's only contained to this level. And with this particular one here, we can actually reuse it 1,000,000 times for 1,000 different doors by just moving it around. All right, so similar to our other door one, we're just going to add a box collider here in our event graph. You know, I'm going to hold off on pasting it just yet, but I am going to save this. And then in our scene here, I'm just going to drag this in over here. I'm just going to move this over like that. And then for this one, just kind of do something like this. And let's see. Let's adjust this size. For our box collision, we'll do 2. I think that's good. Compile and save that and just place it here. All right, so let's go into our event graph and I'm going to paste this, oops, and I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to left click and select this box just like we did in the scene in our level. And then I'm just going to right click and you can see here, add event for box collision, add on component, begin overlap. So, so you can see here that it's very similar to the other way of doing it, except that we, you know, instead of selecting in our scene, we've actually have a hierarchy here, which is pretty nice. Now, what you can do is I'm going to delete this door here. And I'm just going to have it play sound at location, get actor location. So this is when it says self, it's the actual location of this blueprint. Because what I might do inside of here is instead of having that cube is I can add a cube here and make a door and have this sit in front of it. Similar to our other door object. So I'm going to grab this and just kind of plug it into this branch. And compile and save this. And let's go up to this one. And I don't think, let's see, I am missing something, aren't I? Let's see. Here, let's go back in here really quick. We have our retro arcade game asset here. Actually, you know what? I don't think we need any of this do once stuff. I feel like we can just plug it straight in, and we don't need to know just as anything overlaps, and we can hook it up with the character later, but let's just double check that. There we go. And then you can do the D1 stuff. Oh, you know what? I forgot to link up the other actor here to check if it's the other actor. Okay, let's compile and save that. And let's test it. There we go. Okay, so that's it.